Hello and welcome back to the channel. This is the next episode of me trying to recreate together with you the Epic Store game UI in ReactJS and TypeScript. And in this part, we could finally move to the parts of UI that are actually inside of the app. And for the starters, I would like to recreate that beautiful app header, navigation header that you can see at the top. So let's get right to it. So what we need is to create a place for us to work with that. So in the front end part, I'm going to go to source common, and then inside of here I'm going to create new folder and call it components, because the header will be used across few places here, and inside of it I could go and create just header tsx. I'm also gonna create styles file, but maybe not. We can put the styles in the very same place. So let's think. This is well, rather common component that you can see, and MaterialUI thankfully has a component for that called app bar, and it looks like something that after a few adjustments will suit our needs. So let's go with that, I guess. I'm just gonna bootstrap that component. Sir, hello, okay. Do we need any props? Not for now, so I'm gonna get rid of it. Here and here. And we'll start by creating an app bar right here. Cannot find the name. Sir, hello. Okay, well, I guess we have to import it by hand. So app bar from app MaterialUI core app bar. That's that. And also to render it, we will use it across few pages, but definitely we should add it to our home. So let's do that. I'm gonna use that div here as well, something to render the body to. And then I'm going to just use the header here. And let's see how that looks like. Well, it doesn't look like anything. Which is strange. Export default. Maybe if I add something in here. Oh yeah, here it is. Okay, so it has to have some kind, any kind of a children. Okay, so now we will change the position to fixed. Okay, so it always says at the top. What else? We need to style it a little bit, as you can tell, because, well, the colors ain't right, and the height needs to be changed. So let's use styles. Use styles is equal to make styles. We're gonna use a theme here because we'll define some common properties on our theme, and we need something called app bar root. Let's call like that, app bar. Well, app bar is fine too. So we'll define the height and set to be 52 pixels. We should set the display to be flex, and then justify content to flex start, align items set to center, and basically that's it. We can now grab our classes here. And I think obviously should be classes. Okay. A little bit better, not perfect yet. The color obviously isn't right. And as I can see, this color here is reused in few places. Therefore, I would strongly suggest adding it to a theme. And I'm going to use it in a theme palette secondary main. So we have to update our theme. And the value is where do we have the definition for colors here? Secondary main. So as you can see here, the secondary main is the same as secondary light, so that's obviously wrong. We can change it here to be 2A, 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 and that should be the proper color. Okay. Yep. Or is it though? No, this is like the background color here. And this is way lighter. So this is for sitenav wrapper. It's not really that. Header also looks wrong to me. Okay, so I can just use instant color picker and try and find the color here. Oh, okay. Okay, it's hash 2A, 2A, 2A. Strange. Maybe it's because of the white here that I don't see the contrast. Okay, let's leave it at that for now. So we have that defined. Next step is to use the icon. So I'm gonna place a box here just to wrap the SVG. And I'm gonna bring the logo icon. Can I just do... Okay, that works. At least it looks like it works. And the box should be also from the MaterialUI core. And you might wonder here, what's the difference between this one and that one? Basically, the packaging of the MaterialUI. If you're just using some parts of MaterialUI, you should rather bring them as a singular imports of default export. But for our tutorial / learning purposes, doesn't really matter, right? But if you're building a whole app that relies really heavy on MaterialUI, you can bring it like this. Okay, so we have a logo icon. Let's see how that looks. And it doesn't show. That's what I expected. That's because we didn't define a class for it with the width and height and stuff like that. So for our logo, okay, so this is color white, width and height 46 pixels. 6 pixels. Margin left, I will give it 1 EM, sorry, and margin top also is 6 pixels. Remember, we're not making that pixel perfect, we're just trying to create something that looks similar. So classes logo, and that pops in the middle. I would rather see it. Oh, is that because wait. Then we have to specify the flex direction to be yeah. Okay, we have to specify that because by default flex is column and we're going in a row. So let's change that. Flex direction row. Cool. Moving on. Then is that interesting part, which is a set of links to different places. I don't know whether we will actually create all of these subpages. Maybe, probably. They seems easy to do. This is like pointless to create, but okay. And I doubt I'm gonna do maybe we'll just create that part, right? We'll see. The main focus will be on on the main page here. Okay, so navigation, right? Let's define our links that we'd like to navigate as an array of objects. So I'm going to create array here, call it links. And they're going to have a title, obviously, and an URL to which given link should point to. It's an array. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Then there's another title which is new, and that should point to news. Then there's title for frequently asked questions. And there's one for Unreal Engine. Sometimes I really wish I would go the path of a game developer instead of a web and mobile developer, but hey, maybe it will change in the future. You never know. Keep on dreaming, keep on grinding. Okay, so we have that defined. We'll map those links, obviously. So let's see. We're gonna do unordered list for that. You could also go with nav and spans, basically anything you'd like. Maybe nav could be a little more correct when it comes to semantics. But if we go here and check what they did, you will see that they don't give a crap about semantics and just go with unordered list. So we can do the same. So let's create another list here, and we'll use our links here to map across these. And we will create a new component here, call it nav link, and we'll just spread the link here. Okay, so this is great. And now what we have to do is, well, give it a key, obviously, since we're mapping here. So this is a link title. And we'll create a class for our wrapped list. So call it nav list, because I believe that's the name they use in the Epic Store. We'll display flex, because flex is the best for basically everything. We'll get the margin left and we'll make the height 100%. Now here, classes of list, okay. And it doesn't render to anything because navlink doesn't exist. So let's create it here. Okay. Let's bootstrap that. And here we will have an interface for our props, and it will take a title, very obvious, URL, string, and we will have isActive prop here. And why is that? If you go to the Epic Store games, you can see one thing. The active link, meaning the link pointing to a page on which we are right now, has this like a little bit of border, bluish border at the bottom. Also, as I hover across the links, you can see two things. This border is animating up a little bit very fast, but you can see it growing and shrinking as I move across. And also you can see that the title of the link is being highlighted into a white color. Okay, so we have to handle that. So isActive will tell us whether to give it that bluish border at the bottom. Okay, so we have is active here, URL and type. Okay, and we will use li here. Okay, and we'll use the link from MaterialUI. Is that correct? I think it is. Yeah. So we can just render title here. We can give it an URL here. Okay, and we have something going on. How does it look? Well, it looks horrific. First thing that we have to check is, yeah, we have to get rid of that marker that you can see here, right? And if we change the list style type to none, that should be gone. Also, there's a starting padding for UL, and I really doubt that we ever need this styling for any of our unordered lists. So it would be good to store the reset of that in some kind of global styles. So let's go here. There's a global. You can find a UL here and we can say what? Oh, you don't even need that. Okay, so list style type set to none. First thing, padding inline start set to 0, and the margin can be set to 0. Okay, this helps a little bit. Okay, now here, this is good-ish, let's say. Let's handle the navlink part. So here we'll make the use styles hood again with a theme. Please import that. Thank you. So we need navlink wrapper. We'll set the text transform to be uppercase, font size to be 10 px, and we'll update the letter spacing to make it a little bit more spread. That should be an object, right? Right. Okay. Now I can just use classes, use styles, update the class name here, and this should be navlink wrapper, obviously. Okay, well, we're getting somewhere, or at least it seems so. Let's do the navigation list element, or let's just call it link. Why not? So there are a few things here. We should set the theme to have a different color. As you can see, this is some kind of strange gray color. That is used also here, and for that icon, and here, And I think in other places like here and here, this looks like that's this color. So it would be good to store it somewhere in our theme. And in our palette. So let's see. We could go for the primary light, right? Or somewhere else, but let's try and see whether we can define our own set of colors into a palette, because here the keys available to you are, well, let's say very well defined. We could go for the gray. Hey, it would be a good idea. But what if I would like to add my own set of key here? Like for example, since that would be in the navigation, right? Let's call it nav. And can I go with nav, say main, and set it to color is probably CCC. Well, there's a problem, right? This key nav that I just added, isn't the key defined in the theme interface for type. So if I would like to add this, I would have to extend the type somehow. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create new file here called theme definitions.ts. Okay. And if you go to MaterialUI and you go to not components, but to customization, I think, you will find adding new colors section. Okay. So I will copy that one. Okay. And I'm going to change neutral to nav. And that here, this will need maybe later. So I'm going to get rid of that and get rid of that. Maybe let's do that. Declare. Oh, it's okay. Well, one thing you could do here is to not make it isolated, it's just to add any kind of import here. I believe that adding something like styles, maybe create palette, right? And here you can add palette. Now it shouldn't be isolated. Yeah. Okay. So basically what we're doing here is we're taking some kind of module definition from the create palette. This is really ignored. It's just not to make the module isolated. And we're extending it. And what is happening under the hood is during the compilation time and during the time of resolving the types, TypeScript will say, hey, I know that the interface palette coming from MaterialUI has a set of keys with a set of types assigned to them, but I can see that you always declare this module again, even though it's already declared in MaterialUI, and you added a new key here. And since that key isn't defined in MaterialUI, I will just extend the type and shove it right there. And now you can use that nav key to be defined because we extended and updated the definition. Okay? And now I can just do theme palette nav. As you can see, the autocomplete can recognize that and set it to main. Okay, and that should update our color to be white because why? Because of him probably. Yeah. Because this has color primary and this has a MUI link. How can we get rid of that? Well, I could get rid of that by changing the forms, right? But I don't want to do this. I could just go here and check for the color. Oh, I set it to anything else, like text primary. Okay, now I just want to ignore that. Well, it's not really the proper way to use the MaterialUI. But now that I've set it to none, this looks like it's being ignored. And now if I add the class name classes link, yeah, maybe, okay, let's try that. It's still white, yeah, and as you can see here, it's being overridden. So maybe go with a classes root, we override the root here. That should work, except for the fact that it is not. Let's see. This, yeah, just overriding us. I could go for important, but that's not the solution here. So maybe let's try overriding it a little bit. Oh yeah, now it works. Okay, now we give it enough specificity to be overridden. Okay, moving on. So we have the color defined. I'm going to set it to display flex. Then align items center. Padding going to be 12 pixels. And height is going to be 100%. Okay, it's better, except for the fact that it should be centered. Align items center. Am I missing? What am I missing? Display flex. Oh, that's also been overridden by display inline. Cool. I can work with that. Okay, now it looks proper. I want to disable the text decoration on the hover. So we just do end over and change the text color. Text decoration to be none, color to be, this is E, it's not exactly white, E7, E7, E7. Okay. Okay, so this part is done, which is great. Moving on. That's the part that we're missing, right? So let's see. I believe this part, if we take a look at this, is done as before the element, right? If I change the color here, yeah. So this is done as the pseudo element. Then background color, cool. So we can also do it like that. So in here, I'm gonna do add before to activate the pseudo element. And here's one important thing. You have to specify a content here, even to be empty. And in MaterialUI, it can be a little bit tricky because you might think that this should do the job, right? Empty content. But actually, if you take a look at the definition of other properties, we use a quote, the double quote, to define the value. So additionally in here, you have to provide the value which should be empty string. And now it will work. So definitely not this as an empty content, but this. Important. I spent some time figuring that out. So background color of that, and the blue color, so should be coming from theme, palette, nav. Let's do light. And it's not really the proper way to define the palette, but I'm not a designer. And this is RGB 012022 to get that exact blue. Okay. Then we have to place it, and it should be placed like underneath our nav link, right? Because it grows from the bottom to the top. So we're placing this relatively to that one. So I'm going to give it position relative so I can reference that position here. So now I can place absolute here. Okay, and now that position absolute is being calculated in regards to that position relative. They're like interconnected, because what we'll absolute try to do is to find the closest element in the DOM tree structure that has the position absolute, and it will place itself in correlation to that one. And if there's none, like going from the bottom to the top, there's no element that has position relative, it will place itself in the coordinates of the window, right? So since we're placing it at the bottom of our nav link, we have to give it position relative here. And then, well, I can show you that exactly if you're interested. If I'm going to place it at the left 0 and bottom 0, and also I'm going to give it the width of 100%, and height 5 pixels. Let's see where this shows up. Yeah, okay, you can see this before, which is here, went as far as it could right to the header, because that's the highest parent. Well, there's a body obviously, but it's being ignored, and places itself all over the header. And if I add the position relative here, it will calculate itself regarding that one. And as you can see, for now, it is being activated for every element, right? So every element has before, that's why you see this blue line. We can change it rather easily. We'll use our here is active prop. I'll pass it right here. You can see it a little bit better. I'm gonna create simple interface called style props. Exactly. To be honest, I could just use type style props and tell it to pick from the navigate props and to pick is active. For then, if that definition is changed, this is being updated automatically. And we're using it here. Can change to be a function. Style props and is active. Then the height is 5 pixels. No, then let's make it 0. Props is active. Okay, that's cool. Do we have any problem here? Oh, yeah, because that's an object, obviously. Now it will work. You can see that it's all gone now. And if I'm just going to, well, what we could do is inspect that, go into components, and then there's this property. There should be. Oh, now you can see it. I updated the props via the React DevTools, and now you can see it's being rendered correctly. But to be honest, that's not the proper way to calculate is active. So I can go to my header here, and I could get the router from use router hook, which is coming from the NextJS, and then decide to calculate that as is active. Go to router, check for the path name, check for the not the path, not the query, not the route. That should be actually, oh, okay, path name, okay, is equal to link URL. Okay, and now you can see this is correct. It will be also, we'll also be able to switch, like right here. We just get rid of that. Okay. So now, one thing that we're missing here is that nice animation we can see, right? We don't have that. So let's add this real quick. we'll be transitioning the height, right? So let's add transition. Property that I would like to transition is height, should take 2.2 seconds, and is in out as the curve that is describing the way animation starts and stops. And then transition. Okay. And then on hover, one thing that we need to add is take the before element and set its height to 5. Okay, so now whenever the value of the height on before is being changed, right, it won't be done like just in a moment, but it will be animated, it will be transitioned, right? And it will be changed, well, of course, for the isActive, but this makes the component re-render, so it will be like instant, yes, and then when you hover over given element, the before element will have its height change. That's a lot of talking, but it works exactly the same as here. So that was rather simple, but nice animation to be done. Okay. Next part is here, as you can see, and that's the right part of the navigation bar. So let's head straight into that. I will need a box here because we need to push that part from left to right. So I'm gonna use the margin left and set it to auto, and whenever you do that, it is pushing a given section across in Flexbox. Display is obviously flex. Height, that, and align items is center. Okay, so what we can see here is an icon, and we can add this icon, but I haven't decided yet whether we'll make the internationalization, or however you call it. What did I choose? Espanol or German? Make it English. Come on. Okay. So I won't do that hover effect yet. Maybe the next part, we'll see. So basically what we need to add here is a language icon, right? And you will see nothing yet because we need to add a class name. So this is classes language icon, and let's do this for now. So let's do the language icon. We'll need to define the size and stuff like that. And there's a margin here. So a 0 and 16 pixels for that. And we need to define the stuff. Yeah, okay. So here it is. One thing that is missing is obviously the cursor. So we change that to be pointer. Okay. And another thing we need is to set the color for that. And you set the color of the icon a little bit differently from what I could figure out. So you have to adhere to the style property here. You can go for theme, palette, nav, main. Of course, we need to have a theme in our scope, right? And this can be done with theme, use theme from MaterialUI core. Okay. Also, it does change its color on a hover, right? So let's see. This is I element. Oh no, that's our code. Okay, so we have that. We can figure it out because, well, the one thing you might want to do is go here, use the end hover, and change the color to be, which one was it? Theme, palette, nav, not here, not here. I think it was here, E7, E7, E7. We should add it to the theme too. But just theme. And that does not work for SVG, right? So what I found a little bit strange, but working, is if we go to the app bar, or to sign in wrapper, basically here, let's add a class here. We can call it classes, let's say left or right nav section, right nav section, and what might work is to find SVGs here, so all icons, and basically on, is that correct? No. Okay, let's just try it for now. E7, E7, E7. Okay. Okay, that doesn't work either. Okay. And this is, oh, okay, now it works. So maybe if we get rid of that and just say and is VG that was theme palette nav main. Okay, now it works. Okay, so but it's not gonna work perfectly, and you will see in a second just why. Have that figured out. Next is a link, because here you have that sign in link that is pointing us to the sign in form. So for us, that's the login. And here we have person add icon and the span with a text sign in. Okay, and as you can see, this isn't working correctly because as soon as I'm hovering somewhere here, both icons are highlighted. So we'll have to change that a little bit. Basically, I'm gonna do that. Okay, so now only that is highlighting, and this is highlighting for the whole box, but we can fix that later. And this isn't highlighting anymore. Okay, so here I'm going to add class name. We have a definition of the class for the link, I believe, somewhere. Yeah, in theme. So I'm going to use that, but I will also have to adjust this. So a link and let's say classes sign in the wrapper. Okay. And let's create one here. Actually, let's change that to highlight icon. Okay, I'm gonna use that here and here. Okay, now it makes sense. And I will give it another class, sign in wrapper, and I'm gonna use it to add the margin. And the margin is 0.16 px, and probably it will, yeah, it's highlighting the text, and I don't want that. So over text decoration set to none. Okay, better, but not perfect. What we are missing here is the text class here. So maybe not class name, classes, just called sign in. Sign in. So the color of the text, theme, palette, main again. Text transform is uppercase. Font size a little bit smaller, so it's 8.75 pixels. There's a letter spacing set to 2 pixels, and also margin left set to 8. Okay, it's almost good. One problem is the fact that this should be properly aligned. Maybe if I change it from div. Okay, yeah, definitely not. Something's off. That should have height of 100 pixels, 100%, and then display flex and align items center. This should have a little bigger font, like 1075. Come on. Also, this is not aligned. Okay, it doesn't seem to matter that much. I feel like flex direction row, and this has a proper height. Problem is that this, yeah, okay. So this has to have display flex and align items center. Okay. Then again, this one basically to sign wrapper display flex align items center, and probably height set to 100%. Yet, what that is. Okay. And this has been overridden, of course. So we again have to adhere to our good old trick. Okay, a little bit better. The spacing is okay-ish. Maybe if we bump it up to 16. It doesn't have to be pixel perfect, but again, I'm trying to make it look a little bit similar. Okay, and now that we've done with this, as you can see, whenever I'm hovering over it, the proper icon is highlighting. And we're way over 1 hour, so that's bad. Let's just quickly do that, get Epic Games to be finished with that. What we need actually is a simple button. Get Epic Games, right? And let's give it a class, which is equal to classes. And button, of course, comes from the UI core. And now for the class. Sorry for the cough. Maybe I'm just going down with the sickness. Okay, background, color, theme, palette, nav, light, because that's the same as the border in our animation. Height, 1. Come on, you're better than this. Really suck at typing. The text color is theme, palette, nav, main. The font size is probably the same, so 1075 by X. Have to get rid of that. Let's see how it looks for now. Okay, as you can see, well, it's definitely not perfect. I wonder, does the header, does the box, it should be outside of the link, obviously. Okay, and yeah, it's animating right now. Hover, and it has a rounded border. So border radius is 0 px. Letter spacing is a little bit bigger. And then if you take a look at the Epic Games Store, when you hover over it, it slightly, just a little bit, changes the color, right? Let's add cursor. Oh, no, we don't need a cursor because it's a button. But on hover, we'll be updating the color just a tiny bit. Okay, so that's that, and that's our, maybe it's a little bit bigger. Okay, again, maybe we could go a little bit, go with a little bit of a smaller font. I think that's better. And yeah, basically that's it. That's our navigation app bar header done. As I mentioned, maybe we'll add this color switching feature in the future. We'll see about that. Obviously, I'm not gonna link to a file that is a launcher right here. But other than that, I think it should be working. Didn't break anything here from what I can see. And also we're pointing to the Unreal Engine right here. Okay, so yeah, everything is working. In the next episode, we'll work a little bit further with our app header because it changes a little bit when the user is signed in and signed out. So we'll have to somehow maintain the information about whether the user is logged in or not in our app. So that's going to be interesting. So thank you for that. Be sure to like, subscribe, maybe comment if you'd like. It always helps a little bit. And I see you in the next one. Goodbye.